Good day. Today we'll be talking about Born Standing Up by Steve Martin. Great audio book that I've been listening to. He reads it himself. Um, and for those of you, I know some of you younger people who's Steve Martin. He's one of the greatest comedians from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You might have seen him in a few later 90s movies. He was a little more popular. Hilarious guy, but he just kind of talks about his journey as a stand-up comedian. And it was a difficult task. Like, he started out, as a little kid, learning how to do like magic stuff and trying to do magic shows, trying to be funny, trying to be a comedian. He grew up by Disneyland when it first got developed, and so he'd have some small little gigs there. And then he also grew up and went to Knott's Berry Farms. He'd have 2-3 people at a show, and he'd just be trying out material. And he just talks about the long journey. And for some people it's kind of appealing, other people probably not so much. But the thing that I got best out of it was it really was a long journey of trial and error. I mean, he had a lot of stuff that flopped, a lot of stuff that failed, and then with him he just kind of said, oh, that doesn't work, I'll try it again next couple times, and if it still doesn't work, then I got to cut it off. And so you just saw the slow development, and then one day he becomes famous. And the funniest and most ironic part was his whole thing was, I want to be famous. I want to be the most known comedian out there. And then he finally gets like superstar status, where he's giving shows with 45,000 people over the course of 2 days, and insane amount of attention and everything. And the ironic part was he absolutely hated it. He hated it. His whole life he'd been begging to be a famous comedian, and then he finally gets this amazing level of fame, and then it's just like, oh, God, I can't stand it anymore. He's just too famous. And so he describes a lot of the situations and stories of what's that like and why it was so uncomfortable. And so that might appeal to some of you, but like I said, the bigger main idea that really made me think was, man, it's trial and error, and then you learn, then you adapt, and then you repeat the cycle. Like, literally, like, it's just constantly trying out new things and seeing how they go, good or bad, say what it is, make some adjustments, and then go from there. That's what we gotta do. Like, if you want to be successful people, we have to continually try new things, try to get better at stuff. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, sorry, you're just getting into the rut. Like, you have to be willing to try new things, try it differently, and then see what works, and then take out the bad, add the good, try again. The ironic part is a lot of us are just comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you're not really growing. And when you're not really growing, you're getting stagnant. Like, guys, we have so much potential. You have so much potential to make all these great things of yourself. But I gotta warn you, if you're very comfortable, you're probably not growing. If you want to grow, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to try something new, and you got to stretch yourself out. Now, some of you have the ability to force yourself to stretch, to make yourselves better. And others of us don't. Some of us have jobs that make us stretch ourselves and do that. Others of us, we need a coach, or we need a partner, or somebody that's going to inspire you and motivate you. I encourage you, get accountability people just to kind of talk to, pull them to the side, and just reflect and talk. We have to keep continually trying to improve and work at it. It's a daily thing. For instance, I get up at 4 a.m. and I go work out. But man, I messed that up a lot. When I first do it, I would set my alarm for 4, and I'd wake up, hit the phone while laying down. Then about half the time I end up falling back to sleep. And then I was like, okay, well, rule number 1, in order to turn off my alarm, I have to stand up. So I have to stand up, turn off my alarm. Then after I stand up and turn off my alarm, I go to the bathroom. Whether I have to go or not, I go to the bathroom. And then by the time I do that, kind of walk, drink some water, and then the 2-3 minutes have passed, and then the idea of falling back to sleep fades away. This was all from trial and error, guys. And that's what I need you guys to do, is have your trial, have an error, learn from it, make an adjustment, repeat the cycle. You can accomplish anything you want. You just have to be willing to put in the work. I believe in you.